Okay, so I got some packets here of information. I labeled these ones specific for the commissioners and county attorney. It has the complaint that was filed against Mr. Walkendorfer, and I redacted names out of it, but she said that she would come forward to you directly if you requested. For obvious reasons, she didn't want to be here today. So, but those are for you, and if you guys would want to read that complaint, it would give some context to what I'm going to say. It's in here. So everybody can read along if you want to. One for the press. You want a copy of the information? Sure. Before we get started, I wanted to, I've been in numerous commissioner meetings and I've never heard a time limit imposed on anybody. So I just thought, I had a conversation with Ms. Urban about this yesterday. If there is an official time limit, I would like you to impose it. That way, I want it to feel like there's favoritism. You know, if somebody else comes up and says, well, Joe Mondero got 30 minutes and you're only giving me 10. The other thing is, I'm going to try not to curse, but it's very likely that it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be exercising my First Amendment right today. I will be redressing my grievances with my government in a traditional public forum. So if you feel the need to reprimand me, I can go ahead and say a curse word right now. Don't know what your guys' rules or policies are.
Well, first of all, I think we need to make sure that in 30 minutes,
Okay.
you know, that you're, because we do have other people
Yep.
scheduled. So I
Absolutely.
think that's only
Typically
fair.
what we do,
Okay.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they run over a little.
And I don't care if you curse.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me.
Thanks. It just, I gotta
I
say
can
those
get up and
now.
slap you.
So inside these packets included, obviously, you guys have the one additional document that I don't feel is to be divulged to other people. But in here, for anybody that didn't read it, would be my wife's post on Facebook, and then David's response. And I will remind you that it was on the Decatur County Sheriff's page. He addresses himself as the sheriff, and he does name names. So, I mean, there's so many policy violations in there, according to your guys' own social media policy. But so, just so everybody has full context, my wife's post, his response. Just so everybody understands what this is, the Superior County of California, their Placer County Court, is his official court docket for what he was charged with. I have the news article. There's a page here with Kansas statutes. His LinkedIn profile that talks about exactly what years he was there. That'll become relevant. So I will go ahead and begin. And that would be what is labeled Decatur County Commissioner meeting October 22nd, 2024. I want to start by saying this. My wife posted a very valid concern on Facebook that was from a county employee. One reason I'm here is because Mr. Walkendorfer has thin skin and likes to lie. Him posting what he did, calling my wife out by name, he is clearly trying to intimidate and thwart people from openly saying anything against him. If I have to, I will take this further. I will gather statements from residents and county employees about him trying to coerce statements and being openly malicious against anyone who liked the post my wife put on Facebook. Regarding David Walkendorfer's appointment to sheriff. So the things that I have numbered in here, just so everyone is clear, are actual questions that I would appreciate were answered by the commission. Obviously not at this current moment, but eventually. I would like to know if you knew about his criminal history before, or if he fully disclosed it before he assumed the appointment to sheriff. He quotes here, the city, from his Facebook post, the city wrote her a large check and she suddenly went away. She signed an NDA when taking the settlement, which is very common practice for legal settlements. Don't get on the county Facebook profile and lie by saying filed a misdemeanor battery charge. The department started an internal investigation and were determined to fire me, so they filed a misdemeanor battery charge on me. What about the 9 other counts of unauthorized computer access that the DA filed against him? Were those stalking charges from all the same woman or 9 separate women? It seems very relevant. I've put in a request to the attorney of the victim of his crimes in California for Mr. Walkendorfer's testimony. If he's lying about his account of the situation, I will find out. I will release that as well. Don't call my wife a liar and get away with it. Posting onto a public forum the way you did, which according to your own county policy, 5-7-108 social media post by calling out a citizen by name. If Mr. Walkendorfer doesn't like public scrutiny, I'd suggest you get a job in the private sector and start paying for some of the taxes he likes spending on cages, cameras, and LTZ Tahoes. Number 2, I want to know the disciplinary action that will be taken about this. 3, I want to know when the commission and the county attorney knew about my complaint regarding this post that I submitted at 4:28 p.m. Saturday, October 19th. Was he advised to pull it down? I will point this out, the post is still currently up. If he always takes responsibility for his actions, did he disclose to the Law Enforcement Commission of Kansas his charges and convictions? I know for a fact that our county attorney didn't know. Doesn't that seem pretty relevant for the prosecuting attorney of the county to know? I have listed here, I'm not going to read it out, but it's the Kansas statute 74-5605, and that is what is referring to the qualifications to become a certified law enforcement officer in the state of Kansas. If you read through it, it says you must disclose all of this to CPOST, whether or not expunged. The statute specifically states, even if the record was expunged, you must still disclose it. If he did not disclose this, to CPOST, he would likely also be guilty of Kansas statute, end of it is 5903 perjury and 5904 interference with law enforcement. If he did disclose it, I would like you to investigate the commission or the county attorney to find out if the CPOST's reason for letting him have a certification would be, this may be a bigger problem than just him. I'll shake that tree if you want, but I'm pretty sure our sheriff's office is in enough hot water right now with state investigations. He cites a problem with did not or could not confirm allegations they were posting. I think that in and of itself is a problem. I could not do the same, nor would I. That was his quote. First off, he did. When he went into that woman's place of work, threw allegations around about her to her coworkers and her boss, how the hell is that ethical, let alone legal? Secondly, I've been investigating the situation for months. I have taken it to everyone that I could to do something about it. I have FOIA'd body cam footage, denied. I thought at the very least this would prompt the proper channels to investigate it themselves. That specific allegation, the woman at work allegation, was substantial enough that a formal complaint was made to the state. I've given a copy of this complaint to the commission and the county attorney because I do not believe that specific case should be public. I will read specific statements that were reported in the complaint to CPOST that David Walkendorfer allegedly said. I have not seen a body cam. I have no way of knowing that this is actually true. But this is from the official complaint to CPOST. You had your chance to talk. It's my time now, end quote. I need to make a clarification. I am not a cop. I am the cop. I am the sheriff of this town, end quote. Whether it is true or it isn't, stop, end quote. You need to get this figured out in your household, or else we are going to have to start taking charges against you. End quote. Number 5, question to the commission here. What is the public's recourse when you have when they have a problem for the cops to investigate themselves? Believe me, I tried this route already. It didn't work. Make it clear how citizens can file their complaints and whom to file them with. Provide forms online so citizens can make their concerns heard without the fear of Mr. Walkendorfer intimidating or retaliating against them. Also, I understand that things get overlooked. It took me almost 2 years before I did a Google search on him to find out the start of some of this information. I had no reason to run a background on him, but when I was making my run for commissioner, numerous people came forward to me alleging misconduct and unprofessional actions. which prompted me to look deeper. To the situation of confronting somebody in their place of work. Release the body cam footage and investigation over to the county commission and county attorney. Let them decide if you acted appropriately. I did my part. I went through the channels I could without raising suspicions. It got me nowhere. Transparency, give me a break. There's nothing transparent about Kansas FOIA laws when it comes to government agencies. In his comment about seeing the kid that was suspected of driving under suspension, once again, this is in his own Facebook post. Don't you think that somebody that doesn't jump to conclusions like he's accusing us of would have done a simple check on his computer? He obviously knows how to use them. Seems like logical police work. And then to threaten the kid with a ticket, arrest, and impound of a vehicle, that's what he calls a warning. If you did not initiate a stop on him, he was under no obligation to tell you he had his license reinstated. Fifth Amendment. Pretty sure official misconduct, sexual battery, and misuse of police computers is worse than driving while legal. He initiated an encounter with a citizen. He should have turned on his body camera when talking to a minor. Review the footage. Let us know if he acted appropriately. Question number 5, and I still have yet to get an answer out of this. Is he on the Brady list? The untrustworthy cops list, also known as the Giglio. I'm sure if you have any questions as to what the Brady list is or the Giglio, Mr. Hirsch would fill you in. Basically, their testimony, they have to disclose their criminal history to the court. And I want to point this out as well. There's only one other cop in this county that's ever been on it, and it's Brad Messerschmidt. He appears to be on the Brady list when you check the state website. Once again, no further information is available. So if you want to blame my lack of verification on the very government that doesn't allow us access, go right ahead. I've done my investigation, but when the government can stonewall you at every turn, they make it very hard. Like I've said before, I brought this to many people's attention within the government, and nothing seems to happen. And no, it isn't a coincidence that this came out when it did. I put a sign up in my yard endorsing Ed Timmel for sheriff. Within an hour, someone came forward to my wife with a letter. That citizen could not post about it because of their job, an obvious fear of what David just did on Facebook, saying all allegations to be untrue, seemingly calling my wife a liar. He doesn't like it when people air dirty laundry on Facebook. I also don't like it when a government official misleads people on Facebook before an election either. I would also like to point out that I've received as many complaints about Walkendorfer from county employees as I have citizens. This particular post that my wife shared was from a county employee afraid for their job. Like a Taylor Swift song, eventually you must assume maybe she's the problem. Once again, I urge you to investigate these allegations yourself. Someone that refers to themselves as the law or the cop seems dangerous and a liability. We the people give you authority, not the other way around. We make the rules, we're the boss. I hope by coming forward as I have, it will give more people the courage to bring their complaints to the commission. He is a public servant, nothing more. I submitted another FOIA, Freedom of Information request, for those of you that don't know, for his communications on government devices and any device that he's used, even if personal. If he uses it for work purposes, it is now FOIA-able. For any inference of my name, Joseph Mondero, or my wife's name, text and email. I'll be looking forward to see what turns up. Attached are the news in your packets here, attached are the news articles and court docket. Let's see how he spins his way out of this. I'll await another Facebook post of lies. If I feel justice isn't served, I will come back next Tuesday, the Tuesday after, until something is done. We cannot allow somebody with such a big ego and low self-esteem to have a badge and a gun. My wife and many others fear being pulled over by Walkendorfer because of his past actions and current demeanor. To the commissioners, read the attached complaint to C-Post. Tell me if you think she has a rational fear for herself and her child's well-being. So I have one more statement here. I mean, unless David has something to say about my wife's post being seemingly untrue, because I'm about to go through them one by one and show that they are not. Nothing? Okay. But first, I would like to, I'm curious, I don't know if it's an executive session situation. I didn't mean to sound smart-assy on that one. I didn't know if it was an executive session situation on the fact of his Facebook post and the fact that, I mean, it, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but the way,
He's an elected official, so we cannot go into executive session to talk about an elected.
okay, okay. So it would have to be aired publicly? Okay, okay. So, I mean, I'm just curious, once again, I'm a lay, I'm not a lawyer. The way I read the social media policy, when you get back here onto the back side, employees should make it clear that any personal opinions expressed through social media are those of his or her individual capacity, not a representative of the county, or on behalf of the county. The county's customers, i.e. us, suppliers and vendors should never be identified in social media either by name or implication. So, I mean, I'd like to know, like, that is a clear violation of the policy. And I'd just be curious to know, why has it not been taken down? Why does this behavior continue to be allowed? I mean, I do understand that you guys made a policy for this for a reason.
This is our first meeting since this all came out.
Yes, sir.
And none of us can act by ourselves.
Yes, sir.
So we have to wait till we have a meeting before anything can happen from the commission side.
Okay.
So that's why nothing has, been done or talked about or anything like that.
So was he notified by anybody within the county about the policy violation or not?
I did not.
Okay, okay.
So.
And that's fine, and I understand your
You talked to
position.
me, I sent the information to the three commissioners, county
Okay.
attorney.
No, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, well then I'll continue here. So let's summarize. Dug up old history to discredit you. You pled guilty to battery and misuse of police computers. Exactly what is that? Is that stalking? So my wife wasn't wrong about that. Number two, they wanted to fire you, so they charged you with a misdemeanor. Try 10. She wasn't wrong about that either. You didn't disclose any of this to the county, at least by what I've been told. The commission nor the attorney knew about any of this. Doesn't seem very transparent. She wasn't wrong about that. If we talk to anyone you've taken law enforcement action with, they say you treated them with respect, except for these two cases. I don't think so. Not wrong about that either. You already admitted to telling the kid that was legal to drive, that you were going to arrest him, impound his vehicle. That sounds like harassment. Very respectful. Still nothing she said was wrong. Let's continue. Go into a woman's place of work, tell their coworkers and their boss what she was alleged to do. Threaten to charge an 8-month pregnant woman and her young child with a crime during working hours. Ever thought about just talking to her at home? Or was she a flight risk? Super professional on that one. I have the formal complaint to that one. You acknowledge the incident at the high school with the kid. So that also sounds pretty confirmed. These aren't alleged. Still haven't found an inaccuracy. You do know about the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments, I'm assuming. Just, I've got a pocket constitution here if you don't. Be happy to give those out to anybody that wants one. Destroy your character. You must have character for it to be destroyed. You name my wife in your post. Then 2 sentences later, say you won't name names. And then 2 paragraphs later, name her again. By the way, I know what you were doing when you kept saying Miss Mondero. You were referring to me. I know what you were doing. And no, I didn't tell her to post anything. She was being a voice for people that fear retaliation. Another officer was charged with the same thing, once again quoting your Facebook post, your reasoning. Another officer was charged with the same thing at the same time as you, so you pled guilty to something you didn't do. That's fucking hilarious. Another shitbag cop got caught doing the same thing 8 years after you. That seems like a pretty crooked department. I wonder what would happen next time if I see Mr. Walkendorfer speeding down the highway in his personal vehicle. I stop him, threaten to throw him in a cage. I don't think that'd sit very well with people.
Too bad cops don't give other cops tickets. That would just be lawful. I'm just being silly. If you're making everyone happy, you're not doing your job. The only people happy with your job performance are the drug dealers, because you don't do anything about it. The only reason you were asked to fill the position as sheriff is because nobody wanted it. Go through an extensive background check. Did you divulge your criminal past of battery, and I'm assuming stalking, police misuse of computers, because the news article says, let me go ahead and just read that part out loud for the people at home here. The defendant resigned from the police force March 18th while an internal investigation, prompted by the complaint from the plaintiff, revealed a pattern of his usage of DMV records to obtain personal information on female citizens, plural. So, did you divulge your criminal history and convictions to C-Post? Because you had to. And if you didn't, that's a whole other situation. If you did, the state's law enforcement is worse than I thought. How much of a hypocrite do you feel like harassing pregnant women and kids when you're the only convicted criminal in that situation? And here's what I haven't figured out. And I assumed this. How much time? I got a little time left. So when I first was made aware of the actual news article, former officer sentenced by Placer County, and I read through this. And it says that he pled guilty to the 2 counts of police misuse of computers, the 1 count of battery. And then it said that because of the plea deal, they went ahead and let the other 7 violations go. So I was really curious about this, and I had a thought that what I believed at the time had happened was that they initiated an investigation due to the allegation against him in California. What I believe to have happened was their internal investigation started looking into him. And it didn't take very long, and they found all of these charges, and they were saying, this guy is a dirty cop. This guy is misusing his police computer, he's stalking women. We're done looking. Charge him with what we got, get him the hell out the door. So, it did take a little work, but I got it. The Court of California, County of Placer, has in here all of the charges that he was charged with. And the very interesting thing to me about this is, when you look at this, there's the date of the initiated charge that spurred this whole thing. He worked for Roseville PD for 6 years and 3 months. This is based on his LinkedIn. I don't have the official start and stop date. They went back 3 months. All 10 of these charges were from within 3 months. So what I have to ask is, did these police practices just randomly start 3 months prior to getting caught? Or were you doing this? Because what my thought is if they start looking back and they find out that he's been stalking and running people's information illegally, and then 2 weeks later he made an arrest or he pulled them over and wrote him a ticket, and they found out that he had ticketed people, arrested people, that he had prior investigated without probable cause or reasonable articulable suspicion, that's fruit of the poisonous tree. None of that is admissible. So if the police department would have kept looking back and investigated themselves, they would have uncovered a whole bunch of shit, and they would have opened themselves up to even more lawsuits and re-adjudications. So, wrote that down there. A logical person would say they didn't want to look any deeper because they were afraid that any arrests you made prior to that would get re-adjudicated. The department would get even more lawsuits because of you. Someone has to do something about this, or we're going to have another Brad Messerschmidt on our hands, except this time he's going to be in charge. You're a liar and a manipulator. You need to retract your Facebook post and apologize to everyone you called a liar and resign. You fucked with the wrong Marine.
You wanna respond to anything, David?
Well, I don't think we have time to respond, and I don't know legally, I'd have to consult with the county attorney to see what I can legally talk about in here. So, I guess it's on the commission, how do you wanna handle this?
Well, I think he's right, the post needs to come off our website, or our county. I mean, what you post on your own is your business, but
All
it
right,
shouldn't include the county on it. Because of our policy.
okay,
You are an elected official, so the commission really has no authority to reprimand you or anything. That would have to come from the Attorney General's office or FBI or somebody higher up than, I don't know, Steve, can you?
Well, iSource is the other scout.
Well, yeah, I mean, election too, I mean, but, I mean, if any further thing that's gonna happen, it'd have to come from the secretary, or not secretary,
Probably
it's
C-Post.
C-Post. I mean, elected officials are different than county employees. We can reprimand a county employee and fire them or whatever, but you can't fire an elected official. That's up to the voters to go to the polls and do that, but
You also don't have the authority to appoint anybody either.
No.
Political party.
that's right. And that, so what they knew at the time, you know, they put David into office, they would have appointed him and it went to the governor and then she approved it. Probably went to the Attorney General first, no? Just to the governor. And she approved it and that's how he was appointed. The commission had no,
The Republican Party committee that when Troy.
all your
resigned,
committee people and all
they're the
that.
ones that appointed had to fill the position of the sheriff.
So did you guys know about his criminal history?
We would not have known any of, we did know that. We did know it. It was brought to us, but we would not have been, that wouldn't have been something that we would have known when they, put him, we don't get to see any of that stuff.
No, and I understand,
You know, we don't, that is something that,
We probably learned about this in the last month.
well, it's been a little longer than a month, but the last
I've
6
been gone
months.
a while, so.
It's been like the last 6 months that we've, and, you know, that was, I don't know what Troy did to do, you know, he probably did an investigation, the governor, whatever they did. That was way out of our hands.
He is hired and that's it. Cause he would have been hired as a deputy when Troy Haas was sheriff,
Mhm.
so.
I imagine Troy did an investigation.
That could be.
So my question to the commission is, can I leave it in the commission's hands and the county attorney to contact C-Post to find out whether or not he actually disclosed that information? Because I, as a citizen, have no, because Kansas FOIA laws, I have no way of knowing if he disclosed it. They will not tell me. So, how do you even know? How do you know if he actually disclosed it? He says he's being honest, but in his Facebook post, I mean, it is lie after lie. So unverified, they're verified. So I don't know the course of action to take. Do I need to go to the Attorney General? Do I need to call? I mean, like I said, I'll shake this tree. I will make every phone call to every possible agency within the state. But I'm not the biggest fan of government, and the last thing I want is even more state officials in our county. I would just hope that people here are decent enough to know when there's a problem, you've got a man with a badge and a gun going into people's private places of work, going into corner offices, shutting the door. And like I said, I urge you to read that complaint.
Was that here,
Oh yeah, I was here.
that happened?
Oh yeah, that was here. And once again, she came to my house and she read me that. I knew about it. And that's, by the way, that's the problem that I have with you. That's when this started. When you start accosting women at work, accusing them in front of their boss, their coworkers, in public, in the building that they were at. Well, technically in private, but it was the public foyer. How the hell is that even ethical? How can you come in here and for him to have the thin skin that you post on Facebook, I don't air my dirty laundry on Facebook, but you'll go into someone's place of work when they're at lunch. Yep, she was bullying kids at the pool, her and her kid. Bullshit. Because where my brain goes is, one day he's gonna do it to my wife. One day he's gonna do it to my kids. One day he's gonna do it to someone that I love and adore. And this is me being actually very cordial about this. I'm doing my best to hold my composure here and let my words be heard, and try to be unmitigated from cursing or being profane or being disorderly. But if this keeps happening, and that's once again, I'm hoping by coming forward like this and people realizing you have nothing to fear. These are all public servants. They're the entire job of the commission, the attorney, the road and bridge, the sheriff, it's to do what we want them to do. We give the government authority. The government does not give us authority to do anything. We're the boss. So I'm hoping that by doing this, more people feel empowered, that they can come forward, they can make their complaints heard, and I'll start talking to, these are the ones that I substantiated, and the ones that would allow me to say it here. I got about 20 others. And after this, I'm video recording it right here, and I'm letting these people know, you have nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing he can do to you. Oh, he'll get on his Facebook and try to publicly shame you, or he'll start texting you about your families, and he'll talk shit behind your back. Sure, we're all human, but you have nothing to be afraid of. You come in here, you make your complaint, because until enough people make complaints, and I urge the commission and all department heads to go to their employees and say, if you got a complaint, bring it forward. He cannot kick you out of your job. He's a sheriff. He has nothing to do with any other department. And the moment he does, that's immediate retaliation. And hopefully at that point, there's an honest cop in this county that'll actually do something about it. Because just so the commission is very clear, I've been on this for months, and I've done it very discreet. I went as far to get his records. I went as far as calling my friends in the FBI still. I was a Marine. A lot of us guys got out and got government jobs. Some of us got out too stupid to even get a government job, that'd be me. I get in the oil field. I got friends in high places. I started making phone calls. I did it as discreet as I could. I went the channels that I could. I talked to other law enforcement officers about it. I went as far as saying, hey, can you look at his body cam footage? So I don't have to FOIA it. You look at it, you tell me if he did right or wrong. Well, everybody makes mistakes. Yeah, but it's a little bit different when I make a mistake. When he makes a mistake, somebody's going to jail. Somebody's getting hurt. Women are getting post-traumatic stress every time a cop drives by now. Are they pulling in? Are they coming for me again? Did I do something wrong? The fear that this particular woman has in her heart, she got one sentence into, she didn't even start reading it to me. She said, I got this right here, and I said, would you mind emailing it to me? And she says, I every time I go to work and I see a cop car, boom, she couldn't talk anymore. She just starts crying. You're on his Facebook post. I understand that I might have angered her. No, you openly threatened. She was not under investigation. She was not read her Miranda rights. Let me go back to that part because I wrote that in there. Sure, I did somewhere. Maybe I took that one out there.
Joe, just so you know, you have got one.
Okay, yeah. And so once again, the kid at the school, I talked to him after he got out of his car. He could have told me that he had his license reinstated. He was under no legal obligation to do that. No legal obligation. If a stop was not initiated, that is not a legal detention. That was considered a cordial conversation. Okay? So he had no right to then, and a cordial conversation to this man is, hey, I just want you to know that, if you don't get your license reinstated, although it was, I'm gonna ticket you, I'm gonna steal your money, I'm gonna extort you, I'm gonna arrest you, throw you in a cage, get put on the blotter, and I'm gonna impound your vehicle, cost you even more money. That's a fucking warning to him? Holy shit. I mean, this is a problem. This is a real problem. One day I hope that this local government, city, county, state, realizes you can only push people so far. And like I said before, I have all the documentation. If you wanted to have a private meeting with me after this, I will tell you everybody that I talked to, every city, county, government official that I went to with this, and nothing happened about it. Not a damn thing. The public still doesn't know about it. It's never been pushed out. This seems like very pertinent information that people should know. It takes 3 months to be a cop in the state of Kansas. It takes 2 years to be a barber. I mean, that should say something too. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it.